Hey everyone, welcome back to the News Pulse. Today, we're diving deep into a critical issue, the increased deportations in the United States and the responses from the affected countries. Before we get to the news, we'd love to know what you think of our content. Your feedback is key to helping us improve. Now, let's jump into the important details. Just 1 week into his second term, U.S. President Donald Trump has intensified immigration enforcement, moving ahead with his campaign promise to execute the largest deportation in American history. Since taking office on January 20th, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) has apprehended over 3,500 undocumented immigrants. The Trump administration has also initiated deportation flights, using U.S. military aircraft to transport migrants to their home countries or third-party nations. According to estimates from the Pew Research Center, there are an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S., which has a population of 341 million. Impact on specific countries. Multiple countries impacted by Trump's immigration policies are responding in various ways. Some are yielding to demands, others are trying to negotiate deals, and in a few cases, countries are hinting at a possible move closer to China. Mexico. In 2022, the Pew Research Center estimated that over 4 million undocumented immigrants from Mexico were residing in the U.S. On his inauguration day, Trump signed an executive order declaring a national emergency at the southern border, where the U.S. military began deploying 1,500 troops. He also designated international drug cartels as terrorist organizations, specifically mentioning Mexico, and renamed the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. Mexico has agreed to accept Mexican citizens deported by the U.S. President Claudia Sheinbaum's administration has implemented a support program for deportees called Mexico Embraces You, which offers food, medical assistance, and help in obtaining Mexican documents. Initially, Sheinbaum stated that Mexico would not accept deportees from other nationalities, but later reported that her country had received about 4,094 deportees, including citizens from other countries, with the majority being Mexican. There were reports of Mexico rejecting a deportation flight, but the circumstances were not clarified. A repatriation agreement, which was under negotiation during Trump's first term but not implemented, could cover undocumented migrants from countries like Venezuela. In 2022, there were 275,000 undocumented Venezuelan immigrants in the U.S. Colombia. In 2022, the Pew Research Center estimated that 190,000 undocumented immigrants from Colombia were living in the U.S. A standoff occurred between Colombia and the U.S. regarding deportation flights when Colombian President Gustavo Petro refused to allow U.S. military planes with deported Colombian citizens to land, citing disrespect towards immigrants. The standoff escalated with Trump threatening tariffs on Colombian goods and visa restrictions, while Petro threatened tariffs on U.S. products. After negotiations, the Colombian foreign minister announced that the country would accept deportees and that the Colombian presidential plane would be available to assist in the return of Colombian citizens. The U.S. government stated that Colombia had agreed to accept all undocumented immigrants from its country, including on U.S. military flights, without restrictions or delays. The first flight carrying Colombian deportees landed in Bogota on Tuesday morning. China. In 2022, there were 375,000 undocumented immigrants from China in the U.S., including migrants from Hong Kong and Taiwan. China has stated that it will only accept deportees from mainland China, excluding Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning stated that China verifies nationality before accepting repatriation but did not detail the reason for this policy. India. In 2022, the Pew Research Center estimated that 725,000 undocumented immigrants from India were living in the U.S. Trump discussed immigration matters with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, indicating that India would do what is right regarding illegal immigration and that Modi would visit the U.S. in February. The Indian Foreign Ministry spokesperson stated that the country opposes illegal immigration and will accept its citizens back, provided documentation is verified. Guatemala. In 2022, Pew estimates suggest that 675,000 undocumented immigrants from Guatemala were in the U.S.
Mucha necesidad, tengo deudas, quitar todos mis deudas. porque mucho me sacó el coyote, casi me sacó de 200,000. Por eso tengo que quitar esa deuda, tengo mucha necesidad para llegar al otro lado, para dar lo mejor a mis padres, que ellos no tienen nada y no tenemos casa, solo tenemos prestado ahí.
A U.S. military aircraft carrying 64 immigrants landed in Guatemala, marking the third deportation flight to the country since last week. Guatemala has shown openness to receiving deportees, prioritizing reintegration for Guatemalan citizens. Philippines. In 2022, the Pew Research Center estimated that 130,000 undocumented immigrants from the Philippines were residing in the U.S. The Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C., has not reported any cases of Filipinos being arrested or detained since Trump took office. The Philippine ambassador to the U.S. has urged undocumented immigrants to leave the country before being deported. Honduras. In 2022, the Pew Research Center estimated that 525,000 undocumented immigrants from Honduras were living in the U.S.
Lo primero que yo pensé fue, ya no voy a dormir más en el suelo, ya no voy a dormir en el piso, ya no voy a aguantar frío, ya no voy a aguantar hambre y mis hijos tampoco. Cuando yo caigo a la realidad, que aterrizo, que estoy en Honduras, me siento, yo respiré profundo y yo dije, de nuevo estoy en Honduras. Y no me lo podía creer. Fue como un balde de agua fría para mí, caer a la realidad y saber que tenía que comenzar de cero en un país donde lo había intentado tantas veces y no lograba despegar. Sí fue asfixiante para mí.
Estamos a las puertas de una nueva emergencia humanitaria, al no haber una respuesta estructurada para gestionar esta realidad, este fenómeno del retorno de miles de compatriotas. Sería un impacto fuerte en las familias que dependen de estos familiares que envían estas remesas para su subsistencia.
Tienes que buscar la manera, y cuando uno entra en ese laberinto económico de decir, bueno, no hay, ¿ahora qué hago? ¿De dónde busco? ¿De dónde saco? Entonces, como mamá soltera, se me ha hecho bastante difícil, bastante duro.
Honduras has rejected Trump's planned deportations, and its president, Xiomara Castro, has threatened to review cooperation with the U.S., particularly in the military area, and the possibility of seeking support from countries like China. Honduras switched diplomatic ties from Taiwan to China in March 2023. The U.S. suspended foreign aid, which previously totaled $785 million, to Honduras. Brazil. In 2022, there were 230,000 undocumented immigrants from Brazil in the U.S., according to Pew estimates. A flight with 88 Brazilian deportees made an unexpected stop in Manaus, where, after passengers rebelled and went on the wings of the plane after manifesting abuse and death threats, demanding the presence of local police, Brazilian authorities removed the deportees' handcuffs. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva allocated a Brazilian Air Force plane to transport the deportees to Belo Horizonte. The Brazilian Foreign Ministry demanded an explanation from the U.S. regarding the degrading treatment of Brazilians during the flight. That's all for today, folks. I hope you found this dive into the latest immigration news informative. If you're part of our community and want to help us grow, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with everyone. Your participation is essential to keep the News Pulse active and bringing you important information. We'll see you in the next video, and remember, together, we're stronger.